Okay, sorry about that. Not everybody's as tech savvy as all of us. Okay, so the annual Title I parent meeting. Thank you everybody for being here and for being patient with my nonsense. So every year we have a Title I parent meeting, and that is to let everybody know what Title I funds are about and what they do. Okay. Okay, why are we here? Okay, all Title I schools are required to hold an annual meeting for Title I parents for the purpose of informing you of our school's Title I school-wide program, Title I SWP, as described in our comprehensive education plan, which is also known as the CEP. The requirements of Title I Part A, characteristics of a Title I school-wide program, strategies, plans for involving and engaging parents and family members as described in our parent and family engagement policy, how school-level Title I set-aside funds are used, and how parents and families can be informed and involved, parents' right to know. Okay, so this is federal money, and I will kind of break all that down. We receive a portion of federal money based on the poverty rate of the students in our school. We usually have our poverty rate each year fluctuates between 75% to 85%. We get this information from what used to be called the school lunch forms that many of you know about. You had to bring them in. And in elementary schools, they sometimes offer pizza parties for the class that brings back 100% of their applications and things like that. The federal government looks at what everybody puts in as their income, and then they determine how much extra money they will give a school. And that's Title I. And for our school, it could be $750,000 to $1 million. So it comes out to be a lot of money that we use. And part of that goes into funding additional programs in the school, tutoring, having extra deans and staff in the building to help students out, an extra teacher maybe in a class, supplies, getting supplies for students, and things like that. Okay. What is Title I? Title I is the largest federal aid program that provides financial assistance to districts and schools with high numbers or high percentages of children from low-income families to help ensure that all children meet challenging state academic standards. The Elementary and Education Act, ESSA, SEEA, was first enacted in 1965 and was most recently reauthorized by Congress as the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, and signed into law by President Obama in December 2015. ESSA replaces No Child Left Behind, which was the previous reauthorization of ESEA. ESSA gives more flexibility and empowers New York State to define the educational standards for districts and schools. While key components of Title I are maintained under ESSA, there are some changes to program and accountability requirements. Okay, so when we went remote and they canceled the state exams, there was a lot of talk about not getting federal funding if schools didn't open and not having funds if things weren't put back the way they were. This is what they were kind of talking about. So when you hear all the, well, right now there's too much political stuff going on, so this is not at the forefront. But a few months ago, Governor Cuomo and I believe the U.S. Secretary of Education, they were saying things that they would withhold funding and things of that nature. And the type of funding they're talking about is Title I. So again, this was the way the federal government came up with the idea of how do you help a school district that has parents that don't make a lot of money, and they're sitting right next to a district where the parents are two-family income maybe, and they're doing well. And sometimes you can just walk a few blocks from one school to another, and there's a huge difference. So this was the federal government's way of trying to even the playing field. So they based it on income. What is the goal of Title I? The goal of Title I is to ensure that all children have a fair, equal, and significant opportunity to obtain a high quality education and reach at a minimum proficiency on challenging state academic achievement standards and state academic assessments. Excuse me. Simply stated, Title I is all about improving student achievement. Okay. So again, sorry, I'm just checking chats and things. If you got to look at it sometimes as a way, if you've ever had an older brother or sister, or maybe even if you've played against your parents, maybe when you were younger and they played a sport with you, and of course they're going to dominate and beat you all the time with it because they're older and bigger. So they would say, all right, we're going to play a game of 21. I'm going to start you with 19 points. So then you only have to get 2 points. But then, of course, they proceed to get all 21 points and still beat you. At least that's what my brother did to me. So it's kind of in a way of saying, how do we try to level the playing field to match the schools that maybe have a little more money coming in from their families as opposed to families that are struggling? And this was a way for the schools to try to help that along. It's not anywhere near the amount of money we would need, of course, to really catch up, but it does help a little bit. Excuse me. All right. Okay, these are the key components of Title I: closing student achievement gaps, school-wide planning, communication, implementation, coordination of resources, high-quality standards-based curriculum instruction, high-quality teacher preparation and training, meaningful parent and family engagement, accountability for student outcomes. Okay, so as some of you know, may not know, we are a TSI school, or we still are, and that is based on the federal exam, the state exam scores. So that's where the accountability part for student outcomes falls in. And that also gets linked into closing the student achievement gaps. Why are some districts at a lower rate of proficiency than other districts? So those two ones of student accountability right here, these two ones really go together because we're talking about achievement and outcomes. And then they ride into, how are we planning? Are we using our resources? Are we using a quality-based curriculum? Are our teachers of high quality and prepared to train? And are our parents involved in the whole situation? So while this is very pretty, the flow chart could have been done a little better, because these two things right here, right together. It's these other ones that we put together to try to achieve that. And the best way to close the student achievement gap is to have better student outcomes. And the best way to get both of these things is to make sure we plan properly, we coordinate our resources, make sure we're getting the best value. We have a curriculum that will address the standards needed to close the achievement gap. We have the teachers that can help implement and see that that's done. And our parents as partners are part of the school community helping us along. I'm clearing the drawings. Okay, how do I get out of here? All right. All right, what is a Title I school-wide program? A Title I school-wide program addresses the educational needs of all students with comprehensive strategies for improving the whole school that every student achieves high levels of academic proficiency. SWP, which stands for school-wide program, can improve academic achievement throughout a school so that all students, particularly the lowest achieving students, demonstrate proficiency related to the state's academic content standards. SWP builds on school-wide reform strategies rather than separate add-on services. So, if you are a parent from a family and you don't fall into the poverty level, and that's awesome. But that doesn't mean your child doesn't benefit from the Title I funds because it's a school-wide program we achieve together. And one thing that you will find sometimes is money or income doesn't always equal student performance. You know, there are plenty of people that might have a lot of disposable income, but maybe their children still struggle. And then there could be parents that really are just getting by, and they can have students that um, are doing fabulous. Because children are children at the end of the day. The point is, such a program like we're doing makes sure that we have everybody is getting the benefit. Everybody benefits from the Title I program in the school. It's not picking and choosing which kids get certain things. Okay. All right, this is a long one. Parent and family engagement policy. I'll drop that down there. And I'll move this because I can't see. Okay, these policies must address what schools and districts will do to implement Title I parent and family engagement requirements, including how the district will communicate its expectations and implement the parent family engagement requirements of Title I Part A with the support of schools within the district. That's a district-wide part. Must be jointly developed and agreed upon by Title I parents and the school community through the school leadership team process. We held the elections for that last week. How schools will involve parents as partners in their children's education and support parents to help all students meet high academic standards. That's the first part of why we're here. How information, materials, and training will be provided to parents and family members to support their children and monitor their progress. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. How the school and district will build capacity for strong parental and family engagement. How the school and district policies with the meaningful engagement of parents and family members will be evaluated every year. Must be in alignment with the school's comprehensive education plan goals and action plan. Must be translated in the dominant languages spoken by parents and families in the school and distributed to all Title I parents. Okay. The last one, as soon as we get the translated materials, we will send it out. The school's comprehensive education plan goals will also be shared and will be aligned with the goals of Title I. And family engagement is kind of what we're doing here tonight and what we strive to do at every one of these meetings that we have. Okay. The School Parent Compact. The School Parent Compact is a component of the Parent and Family Engagement Policy and serves as the written joint commitment between the school staff, families, and students to share in the responsibility for improving student academic achievement. The SPC is part of the school's written parental involvement policy developed by the school and parents. The SPC must outline how parents, the entire school staff, and students will share the responsibility for improved student academic achievement and the means by which the school and parents will build and develop a partnership to help children achieve high standards. The School Parent Compact must be translated in the dominant languages spoken by parents in the school and distributed to all Title I parents in the school. Okay, so this is an example of the school-wide compact. This is from last year's CEP. And we have not completed the CEP yet, so that's why I'm just showing you an example. And basically, it's a lot to read, so we're not going to do that. And we have to, and this will be different now because of our status in remote learning, and it also has to be translated. So to sum up basically what's in this document is the school, meaning myself and others, and the person that just walked behind me, promise to, there goes the cat, promise to put all the resources available that we have in the school to improving student achievement, to informing parents of what is going on, to communicate to parents what's going on, to hold events and meetings regularly to engage parents, to explore and to even implement parent programs, that's part of parent education, to draw more parents in. So on the school's end of the compact, our goal is to give as much as we can, and then even a little more of ourselves to try to help your children achieve. The parent side of this is very, very easy, and it will cost you nothing. It's free of charge. You don't have to pay anything. The only thing we need from you for all of this that we're saying we're going to try to help you and your children is for you to be part of it. That's it. All you have to do is show up for meetings, be part when of things to reach out. I'm not saying you have to be super parent. I'm not saying you have to be there every day or online every day, but the expectation on our end for you is to be involved and to know what's going on with your children's education. And for many of you, you're almost say, well, Mr. Letty, I do that every day. That sounds like a real bargain. And it is. It's a bargain in any way you look at it. So that's that's the only thing we'll ever ask from you is to be involved in your children's education. And I know many of you are, so it's not that big of an ask. So that's the good thing. And once that is completed, we will disseminate that, hand that out to everybody once we get it translated as well. Okay. Now, Title I set aside 1% set aside funds. So of the money that we receive for the school, 1% of that goes towards parent engagement and parent education. It's a minimum of 1% of a school's allocation of Title I Part A funds must support parent involvement activities and programs. They change it. It used to be education. I still like to say education. Title I schools and parents of students served in the Title I program must jointly agree upon the use of the set-aside funds. Chancellor's Regulation A655 requires school leadership teams to consult with the Title I parent representatives regarding the Title I program and the use of these funds. The minimum 1% set aside for our school currently this year is $9,214. Now that is not the actual percentage of the amount. It's higher because they let us carry some of the money over from last year that we didn't spend with Title I. So because we had the pandemic, they let us keep some of last year's money. So to give you kind of an idea what the number usually is, when I said that if we get $750,000 from Title I funds based on the forms that the parents fill out, 1% of that gets taken off the top and put to the side. So 1% of $750,000 would be $7,500. If we had $900,000, 1% would be $9,000. So this amount is actually the combination of a little money from last year, a few $1,000s from last year, but we'll take it because money's still money. The Title I schools must provide activities for parents and family members that help improve student achievement. Included in the school's parent and family engagement policy, and is aligned with the student achievement goals as outlined in the school's CEP. Okay, now, hold on, I gotta do a little switching around here. Okay, hold on. We're gonna get back to that one in 1 second. Okay. Okay. Sorry, the DOE didn't make it easy on me this year. They put things all over the place and I have to go from place to place to get it. Okay, so these are appropriate Title I expenditures and activities. Sample workshop topics for Title I parents. Some of you may have went to Mr. Pressey's district workshop on the next generation standards. That's an example of a workshop. Family literacy, how to work with your child's teacher using technology in person or virtual. Miss Boone has had several workshops with Miss Price over the years with that. Internet safety or bullying. We've done things like that. College and career readiness. So these are some of the workshops that we would do that are appropriate for the Title I funds. Some other expenditures we could use: in-person or virtual staff book clubs, in-person or virtual joint staff parent professional development seminars, partnerships with New York City cultural institutions, creation of a parent resource room or library, reimbursement to parents for reasonable transportation expenses associated with attending workshops, reasonable expenditures for refreshments or food during in-person parent involvement. Sorry, we're not going to be doing that. We're not going to be doing that right now. And don't ask, we're not doing Uber Eats as part of that. I'm not sending Uber Eats to anybody's house. So let's not even go there because I thought of it. It sounded like a great idea, but I know I get in trouble. Reasonable postage to mail things to parents. Okay. So examples of, I should have started with this, things we can't spend the money on. Any activities that do not directly relate to the titled education programs. So Yankee games or not an activity that we could do it. Activities that do not have an extrinsic education or cultural value. So no amusement parks or shopping centers. Theatrical performances, can't do that. Payments to non-DOE approved consultants. Incentives that do not relate to Title I education. No dances, no trips, no staff salaries. That's just crazy. No refreshments at the PTA or SLT. No postage for school business that has nothing to do with instruction. Not to be used for SLT remuneration payments, and no refreshments for virtual meetings, which doesn't make sense. So those are some of the things that we can't spend the money. I just wanted to put that out to you beforehand. Okay, so now I'll go back to the other slide, which I've lost. That's not it. There it is. Okay. All right. So of the $9,214, and we're going to talk about that when we talk about the chairperson, we can use that money for things like maybe holding classes for parents, or some of those workshops, or maybe now getting licenses to online services that are available. You know, there's a lot of new things that we're going to have to look at. So, but it can't be used for anything other than helping you and your child improve their education. All right, parents' right to know. Title I parents have a right to receive timely information about the achievement level of their child. It's report cards and parent-teacher conferences. Opportunities for regular meetings during the school year to allow parents and guardians to learn more about the school's Title I program, like Title I meetings. School and parent programs in a format and, where practicable, in a language the parents and guardians can understand. Translation and interpretation needs should be communicated prior to meetings or events. School and district improvement identification, if applicable, and availability of options for eligible students, such as expanded learning time or after-school tutoring. Support for parent involvement activities as requested by parents and guardians. And how to file a written complaint regarding the administration of the Title I program. Any questions? I'm sorry. This is procedural that I have to do. But are there any questions about, well, any questions about Title I? I know people have other questions, I'm sure, but let's just start with that. So, okay. Correct, Mr. Poor, we discussed.
Correct.
Okay. Okay,
Correct.
so, okay, I believe that ends the Title I parent meeting.
Title I, yes.
Okay.
Title I parent meeting is now closed.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us, and also on YouTube. And till the next time, I guess. It was good to see
Thank
everybody.
you.
Okay.
Bye, Lopez.
Bye.
Bye, Virginia.
Later.
Bye, Letty.
Later.
Later.